What's up, and welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and we typically feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. With me is Lauren, and today is our Fantastic Four Origin pre-show. So the Fantastic Four are finally coming out. We're still got a healthy helping of Superman in our stomachs, but guess what? I hope you're ready for dessert because we're about to go and just all of it, like Galactus. We're going to eat all of it. Just give me all of this delicious pop culture goodness. So if this is your first time, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, follow, hit the notification button. Don't miss an episode. Each and every week we come out with a new episode. Last week was our Superman review. This week is our Fantastic Four pre-show. Next week will probably be our Fantastic Four review itself. So that's where you can find us, Hops Geek News, right? And in any social media platform, we go into what we are reading or watching, a little bit of news, and then our main topic where we don't have a whole lot to get into this morning, but I am drinking Proven Theory from Benchtop Brewing. And I thought it'd fit with the whole, nerdy scientist Fantastic Four theme. So that's what I've got over here. I don't have my Fantastic Four Roosevelt shirt like I was supposed to have. My son got it because I ordered the wrong size, I guess. It's awkward. It's embarrassing. It's terrible. We're screaming, crying, throwing up. Lauren, what do you have over there?
I have a Lawson's Hazy Rays IPA because in the weird Secret Wars issue, Torch became the sun. So that's what I have going on over here.
I had one of those. I brought it with Asheville. Maybe I left it
I
you to take
think
me. I think I
ended
did.
up with it.
There you go. Look at that. I think that came from me. There you go. Surprise.
I was like, wait, that wasn't intentional.
Surprise. I think it was. I don't remember. I don't care.
I blame Josh.
I can get easily up here, so that's probably why I did that.
And I got it in an half New York glass because that's where the Baxter Building is.
It is. That is true. It's the Baxter Building. I can't wait to go to New York City once more. New York is just stock full of. I would never live in New York between Avengers Tower and the Baxter Building, but that's just me speaking. But let's go into what we've been reading or watching. So I'm kicking it off this week with Absolute Flash, issue number 5. I'm still enjoying this one. Jeff Lemire, A.L. Kaplan, Chris Sotomayor, Tom Napolitano, and Nick Robles did the cover. It's a slow burn. Heatwave gets introduced in this, and he kind of reminds me of a Pokemon character called Grimer. And the artwork is still absolutely fantastic. I just want there to be a little bit more, I guess. And it's a slower build and burn. It's not terribly slow, but I do wish I just got a little bit more out of each issue, aside from the fact that I just love Grodd and Wally on their side, like them together. It's really amazing. So without spoiling it too much, next up, I got Zatanna issue number 6. Jamal Campbell handles this. I don't know how this guy does it. Ariana Maher's on the letters. So this man does all of the other artwork. And the artwork is absolutely incredibly insane. Somehow he's got like this deep red background of colors throughout the issues, and yet it still makes the forefront of the artwork pop out. And the way he just uses his panel spacing and a lot of the detail in these fractured segments, and when he's using the magic and the way he portrays the magic through his artwork, it's fantastic. And he really captures Zatanna's heart and soul of who she is as a character as well. Absolutely adore that. Absolute Batman number 10. Already know that one is crazy body horror type stuff. Bruce is essentially getting tortured at this point, and Bane is toying with him. And there's more that I can't say because I know Lauren's not caught up, and I don't want people to get spoiled if you haven't. But dude, holy crap! Take issue 9 if you've read that with Bane, and you crank it up a notch. And that wasn't even Bane going to his full potential like he's about to do in issue 11. So Absolute Batman number 10 just is insane. This whole run is just nutty and insane. But next up, one of my favorite big 2 Marvel DC is Redcoat. Issue number 13 is out. It is from Ghost Machine Image Comics. We got Jeff Johns, Brian Hitch, Brad Anderson, Andrew Curry. And, Rob Lay, who got left off of my lettering and my review. I sincerely apologize. I got to fix that. I messed up. I was moving too fast. But, it's incredible that Simon basically gets put into a situation where he has to choose between money and, humanity, essentially. Him and the Northerner and this little girl are chasing down the cobbler, who, if the cobbler delivers this message, essentially the South wins the war. And it's a really big play into Simon's crisis. Yeah,
I think I'm 2 behind on that one. The last one I read was when they had just met the Northerner.
Yep. And now this one, man, I really do enjoy the story. It's such a, Simon's got to choose. Is he going to do the right thing? Simon, deep down to his core, I believe, is actually a good person. He just thinks so lowly of himself. So he's accepted himself as somebody that he's really not. And so I Highly recommend that. They're in the Civil War right now. And then Predator versus Spider-Man issue 4. That's story.
We have the Nerd Initiative logo on. Sorry.
Oh, you're
I
right.
was
I was
trying to
doing
be
this.
subtle.
Whoops. You're pointing the other way. That's why. My bad. I did have the Nerd Initiative logo up initially. That's my bad because I've been
We are part of
recording.
Nerd Initiative, but
We
this segment
are.
is from Hops Geek News.
It is. And our reviews are all on nerdinitiative.com. That logo, I film a newer kind of review show with my 9-year-old where we just review random comics. So that's why I had that up. My bad. But anyways, Spider-Man versus Predator issue 4. This wraps up this little run. So Ben Percy, Marcelo Ferreira, Jay Leiston, Frank Darmada, Clayton Cowles. And dude, there is something that happens in the final panels of this book that is really kind of cool, and it has to deal with not Spider-Man actually, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's this is good because next up is Predator kills the Marvel universe, which I think a lot of people are going to be into. And then I've got
Is
Krypto, the
Ben
last dog of
Percy
Krypto.
doing that one? Is he doing all the
He is,
Predators? Nice.
yeah, he's doing Marvel. Predator kills Marvel universe. I cannot wait. Now, Krypto, the last dog of Krypton, number 2. Ryan North, Mike Norton, Ian Herring, Lucas Catoni. I have never wanted to jump through a comic and beat someone's ass as I have with Lex Luthor, who essentially is torturing Krypto at this point. He's torturing Krypto. And so he took Krypto in at the end of issue 1. Issue 2, he's the biggest a-hole on earth, and you just want to strangle him and beat his ass and all of that kind of stuff. But there is a happy ending at the end. Don't worry. But yeah, I like that one a lot. It is a very good book. Ryan North, don't know who hurt him, don't know why he wants to hurt us, but that's essentially what I have been reading this week. And my full review is nerdinitiative.com, just like Lauren's. But what do you got this week?
So I caught up in some Ultimate Wolverine. I haven't been reviewing that for Nerd Initiative. I just
I'm a
caught up
couple
on it.
behind on that one myself, actually.
Yeah, that's really good. I think I'm still one behind on the current ones. It's probably in my stack of the $100+ I just spent at the comic shop. But yeah, that's getting. I mean, that one's really good. So if anyone hasn't checked out that one, the premise of it is basically Wolverine is the Winter Soldier. So it's a whole other universe. But they have so many characters that then you're like, oh shit, that person's doing this, or oh, that person's on this side. And it's very interesting with Colossus because the only Colossus I had ever known was the do good from, Deadpool and from the X-Men series. Like I hadn't read any comics with Colossus other than sprinkled in here or there. But lately the ones I've been reading, he's not always on the good side.
I know I've never read any Colossus really, except for, when he's a part of the X-Men. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Wolverine Revenge and Ultimate Wolverine, like he's not on the side that you would consider the good guys.
no, he's not. It's interesting. It is big time interesting.
So I'm enjoying that. I did a video review for Giant House of M. I asked for this and I didn't even realize it was the Hive Mind. And then I was like, oh yeah, they're doing giant size X-Men right now. So that was Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly,
Right.
who
Yep.
are friends of the show. And that one was really cool because, the whole House of M thing, it's Scarlet Witch kind of playing on everything. And this is like Kamala shows up and they're in a world where there was a movie with John Travolta years ago where they did reverse racism, where they were treating black people like they were white and treating white people like they were black. I never watched the whole movie. I've seen clips of it. I probably saw reels of it. I should try to find it. But like John Travolta's son wanted this black superhero. And then John Travolta's like, don't you want to get like one of the white ones? He's like, no, Dad, this is the cool one. And it was totally flipping the dynamic on its head. And
how have I never heard of this movie?
There's a few movies that like I've heard about and I was like, I never heard of that like from years ago. Like I need to like start making a list and writing those because you see reels all the time with clips from movies and you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So it was kind of like that, but with mutants. It's like mutants aren't getting discriminated against anymore. Like they're homo superior. But like she shows up at a high school or a middle school, I don't remember which, and like the mutant kids are teasing the human. And so it's that kind of dynamic of switching, the protocol on its head. And they think Wanda's behind it all, but it's really somebody else behind it all. And it's just, and there's so many funny comments too. And like, it ends with like a super cheesy line. And then Wolverine just like appropriately, he goes like, woof. And like, I know that was Colin, like, but I think it's going to wrap up in the second one. So I think it's a short one. That's a spinoff of the Giant Size X-Men. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. And it's giant size because it's like 40 pages or whatever. But then the last like 3 or 4 pages is an expert of Wolverine connected to this one, but it's with the Saladin Ahmed and Martin Coppola run right now, which is the
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine that I keep saying is like what you don't expect, but it's cliche Wolverine, but on its head
Oh,
again.
right. Yep.
So it's from that, and then they're like, this story will continue in issue 12, and I think they just dropped issue 10 last month.
Okay.
So that was
Interesting.
cool. And then I did Deadpool and Wolverine, which I picked up today.
Oh, yes.
This one has been fun. We got Apocalypse as the bad guy. Deadpool and Wolverine keep taking turns getting mind controlled, and now Maverick's in on it. And there's a whole other bad guy at play now, and we have zombies with cowboy hats and skeleton dragons, and it's a lot of fun.
There's
And
a lot going on there.
you get a lot of stupid jokes too because of Wade, and it's Ben Percy. So Ben Percy knows how
Man, that
to
dude is
write
doing everything.
Wolverine. I mean, his
Hardest
Deadpool and
working man
Wolverine
at
together.
Marvel,
Love
at
them.
least.
Love it.
So that is wild. I mean, what have you gotten into watching since, we'll go ahead. I think you've watched a couple things that are about time for one of them, and then the other one just recently came out, I think.
So it was About Time Sinners.
Yes,
Okay, so
obviously.
I don't want to spoil Sinners. It
Okay.
was not at all what I expected.
No,
I
it
knew
was
it
really
was
good
Ryan
though.
Coogler. I knew like it had Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And I knew it took place not current. I thought it was some sort of historical fiction, which it kind of was, but I didn't know there was a supernatural element to it.
You
So
don't know it's
Josh did
about
not.
vampires at all?
I had no clue.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when as soon as it started playing, I started seeing eyes. I'm like, wait, is this a horror movie? And Josh is like, yeah, I think so. But Josh didn't like it because he doesn't like that stuff.
Oh my, but it
Um,
wasn't even like most of the movie was a legit them getting the juke joint set up and exploring the South during this
he
time
just doesn't
period.
like when they do that kind of twist. It's like he checked out of
Oh,
Yellow Jackets in season 2 because they started to go that route. But he loves like Michael B. Jordan, and Black Panther is one of his favorite Marvel movies. So he just, I don't know, it just wasn't for
they should have
him.
talked about Krypto with vampires, and then he would have been in.
Maybe, yeah, not the dog Krypto.
Not the dog.
Um, he liked it. He was just like, it was just kind of weird, but yeah, it wasn't what I expected. I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought it was. But I think that's because everybody hyped it up so much.
But it lives
But
up
then
to the
I
hype.
kept expecting it to be like a demon thing. One of the things I thought was interesting. I'm just going to say this, but I'm not going to finish my thought because I don't want to spoil it because it's still fairly new. Do you
It's
remember Robert Johnson? He was a real person who played the blues, and he sang a song about a crossroads demon, and that's how he got his talent, was from this
yeah.
crossroads demon, or how he got famous. It's an actual person with an actual song, but supernatural element. So I'm thinking that was going to come into play, but it was interesting how it was
Oh.
kind of the opposite.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
mean,
all I'll say with that. Yeah.
it's not relatively new. It's been out for months. Everybody's just about seen it, has been raving about it at this point.
It's out for 6 months. It's just now streaming. It's a very good movie, but I feel like expectations. I was like, wow, everybody loves this movie. It's going to be phenomenal.
For good
It was really
reason. It is
good,
phenomenal. Oh my
but
gosh. All right.
I didn't
Well,
know it
you
was
know
about
what?
vampires.
Here's a one that you should know it's about vampires. All right. I watched Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, because this was my daughter's
Oh, Jesus.
Superman right here. Okay. I feel like they're setting up for the next generation. They're trying to, like, Milo Manheim, Meg Donnelly are
It's Mary
about done.
Winchester.
Yeah. I feel like they're about done. So I do actually feel as though they are setting up for the next generation and it wasn't very good. Weird guitar riffs to it, not a very good one. Zombies 3 with the aliens is better, but I think the next one's mermaids. There you go. There, as a
I think
middle-aged
I'm gonna
dad,
sit
that's my
out and not
review
watch
on that
any of
one.
them.
There you go. There you go. That's a good idea.
Logan did
But
have it on.
yeah.
But yeah, the last thing I watched was Dexter Resurrection is back. So they dropped
Huh?
2 episodes, and I think it'll be 1 episode each week. My brother, we were having dinner with my brother the other night. He's like, "Yeah, but his son shot him," and I'm like, "Yeah, but they clear all that up in the first few minutes. Like you're
So
caught
is
up
it
pretty quick."
decent though?
It is decent. It's in New York, and
Is it
it,
Michael
it
C.
is.
Hall again?
Yeah, it's Michael C. Hall.
Oh,
His son is in New York, and so he finds out his son is in New York, and he's trying to keep a watchful eye on him from a distance, kind of thing. But like he's still
interesting.
consistently talking to Harry. You know how Harry's always his Jiminy Cricket. Um,
Interesting.
there's a lot of cameos. Some of them are in his head, some of them aren't.
Deb?
But I haven't seen Deb yet.
Probably because they got divorced, but you'll
Well,
probably never see her.
she was in Dexter New Blood, and that was
Oh.
after they got divorced.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting. Didn't know
Yeah, they
that.
got
Like I said,
divorced during the
the
show.
way the initial the show ended, I can't say I'll ever be watching these. So
I'm gonna watch until I get a good ending.
That's fair. All right.
I like it. I think it's worth watching. And Brandon kept asking me questions. I'm like, just go watch it.
I hate that, right? Because you're just, hey, watch it. Or if you're actively watching something and somebody keeps asking questions during, but why are they doing? I don't know. I'm watching this just like you are. That's the kids. Like my daughter was asking questions about Zombies 4. I'm like, literally, we're watching this for the first time together, and I don't know. So why don't you just see how this plays out? Anyways,
like, we're not supposed to know yet.
I have no idea. Watch the movie. Media literacy is dead. Speaking of dead, Superman's not dead because Superman had the biggest opening weekend in solo Superman history. It made 225 million worldwide between the US and overseas. And then it also, I love cherry pick stats like this where it's, for example, Superman made the highest amount of money on a Tuesday in 2025 so far. It's true, but also it's just kind of funny that that's
summertime.
It's like it's like sports, right? Sports has the most chair. This quarterback has not thrown an interception on the road in December on the 14th week of December since 1993 in the rain. And it's just so funny how they cherry pick that stuff because
like the highest grossing movie with a CGI dog. It's like you could say anything you want.
I respect it. I really do. I feel like we could I'm gonna start cherry picking stats like that for our show just to slough them out there. This is the most listened to show of a podcast that features a man and a woman whose mom listens to the show every third Wednesday of the 6th month and also has a beer made with the specific hops.
There you go.
It's just ridiculous, but yeah,
the best podcast from Virginia and Orlando that also drinks craft beer and talks comic books.
We are the best hops geek news podcast in existence. That's what I tell my kids. You're my favorite.
We haven't copyrighted
their name, right?
So hopefully we stay that way.
There we go. What other news we got out there?
Dead City season 3 has been greenlit. It is official. The way they ended it, I knew that they were going to. So if you haven't watched the second season, I'm sure it will show up on Netflix. Which second season I thought was good. I thought it was worth watching. I did reviews for it every week. I really like what they're doing. I do think they're still coming up with fresh takes for Walking Dead. So if you gave up,
somehow
you wish you hadn't, come back.
They are somehow doing it, man.
And obviously Supergirl will come out in 2026. We've been seeing a lot of push for that. We don't have a set date yet, but they are pushing the poster.
There's that poster. That poster looks pretty dope.
It does.
And yes, I'm on board, man. I'm really sold on Millie as Supergirl already from the 2 minutes and then sharing the memes that she has been sharing of, Supergirl and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty good. So I can't wait, but let's go ahead. We'll take a quick break and we will return with some Fantastic Four comic book origins.
Bunnytail Designs Co. is out of this galaxy, with bags for any and every occasion you just may need. Maximum effort was put into every bag, and there's koozies too. Whether you're raising muggles or wizards, these are the bags for you. Or hunting demons, or running from demigorgons, or traveling the galaxy. So get a bag and peep that fit. Great for kids too. Cheers.
Hey, we're back. Now we're going to talk about the Fantastic Four comic. We're going to go into the 4 of them. We're going to do some must-read comics according to Marvel.com, some first introductions of characters, some fun facts to kind of get you up to speed for this week's release of the Fantastic Four, where their first appearance was actually in 1961 in Fantastic Four issue number 1, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Now, legend has it that due to DC having some successful teams, Martin Goodman, who was Marvel's publisher and Stan Lee's uncle while golfing with, some of these executives, actually told Stan Lee to create a new superhero team in order to compete because, Timely Comics and all that was failing. Marvel wasn't doing so well at the time. This is when the Fantastic Four burst onto the scene. This was a time when Atlas had recently become Marvel and superhero comics were not the main seller at this point. Their publisher would only allow so many comics at a time to actually even be released. So Stan Lee was an editor. He wasn't really writing comics, things of that nature. And actually, he felt ready to stop working on comics altogether. And
that was never his original goal. He wanted to be an actual, that's part of why he changed his name.
Yeah. But due to the overwhelming response to Fantastic Four, it actually persuaded him into continuing with comic books. So
that's why
shout
they're
out.
the first family.
Marvel's first family for a reason, folks, and that's why. So Lauren, why don't you go ahead, tell us who they are and what powers do they have?
So the 4 heroes include Dr. Reed Richards as Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm as Invisible Girl and fiancé to Reed, Johnny Storm as Human Torch and teenage brother of Sue, and their friend Ben Grimm as The Thing. Their home base is in the Baxter Building in New York City.
Yes.
Well, not forever, though. At one point, it... So Mr. Fantastic, he's a genius, a shapeshifter. He can do a slingshot with his body. He can stretch. He can go super fast. He has high energy, and he can make fist weapons and a whole bunch of stuff because obviously he's like Elastigirl. Elastigirl's like him. We're going in order here.
Elastigirl in The Incredibles. Actually, that was on yesterday when Oliver was getting his braces. I was watching some Incredibles.
Such great movies.
It is.
So Invisible Woman, she was originally girl. Later she becomes woman because it just doesn't make sense that we do that. But so originally only able to turn herself invisible. Later she discovered she can also do other things. She can turn other things invisible as well as project invisible force fields. And she can also create these force fields to use them as weapons. Then we have the Human Torch. He can fly. He can create fire, consume fire, throw fire, basically has fire powers. He's also very durable. However, he is completely powerless against Cassandra Nova.
Ooh.
Then The
Thing. It took me a second. I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know that in the comics too. And then it took me a second.
Yeah, that was a nod to Deadpool Wolverine. So The Thing, he does not actually age when he's in Thing shape. He is very durable. He is very strong. He has great stamina. And he is a skilled pilot.
Ooh, a skilled pilot. Does he still fit in the planes?
I'm sure he gets planes made for him.
That's true.
And he's not always The Thing. There are times, many times, where he becomes human again. Sometimes for only a little bit. Sometimes for a lot of it.
That's true.
So this very first issue is the actual infamous cover that even our logo is a nod to. You can even see it behind us if you're watching.
True. I mean,
on YouTube.
If you have seen our logo, that is the Fantastic Four cover, man. Issue 1.
Just a nod to it. It's not a total rip-off.
It's not a rip-off. I don't think Baby was there, and I don't think Thor was there, and I don't think there was,
they weren't fighting a giant
Wolverine, and yeah.
Right.
Anyways.
And Thor didn't have glasses, and he wasn't there. But they were not fighting a giant hop. They were actually fighting a giant green monster called Mole Man, who's busting through the ground and holding Invisible Girl.
He's going to be in this movie.
And well, nice. I don't see. I've been avoiding all the trailers. I didn't know that.
Whoops, my bad.
Spoilers. So in said issue, their origin is done as a flashback. The 4 of them were determined to not let the Soviets win the space race, and when the government wanted to pull back their funds, Reed decided it was time to test his ship. Despite Ben's concerns about Reed's fancy ship not having a cosmic ray shield, they proceed anyway. Sadly, or fortunately, this is an issue as a solar flare strikes and the 4 of them are exposed to radiation, giving them their powers that we just discussed as they crash back to Earth. As soon as they emerge, their powers take hold. They bicker and eventually decide they have to use these powers for good. As the origin wraps, the Fantastic Four fight the Mole Man. They stopped his plan for global domination and discovered an underground realm of odd beast creatures.
All right. Would you look at that? They stopped it. Congrats, everybody. You did it. Woo-hoo. Now, Jack Kirby himself was a B-movie monster fan, which he drew inspiration from in creating some of these characters. Lauren, sees the Mole Man for sure.
She kind of looks like Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he does. Yes, not the hop, but the actual, cover.
The cover, not yet.
Yes. Now, aside from that, Dr. Doom shows up in issue number 5 for the first time ever. He was actually college friends with Reed, which they do kind of dabble in the first films back in the 2000s, all that kind of stuff. They were all kind of friends, good things like that. And then knowing that Namor the Submariner had met the Fantastic Four after they defeated him in issue 5, Doom finds Namor to team up and fight them again in issue number 6. He agrees so long as Sue is spared because he loves her. Ooh. She's not completely uninterested as Johnny finds a picture of Namor that Sue has, which, listen, Sue, what's happening here, girl? You got 2 kids with Reed Richards.
Not at this point, although they do say like there is a little bit of like stuff going on even when they're married, like later on. I don't know if there's any adultery.
Reed Richards is the bad guy anyway, so
connection.
As Namor and Doom actually team up, Namor ends up turning on Doom, and Namor was actually the first Golden Age hero to show up in the Silver Age of comics. So we do have some to go into. So 1963 Fantastic Four Annual Issue 1, Namor is brought back again. Annuals are obviously a lot longer than normal issues. They do a lot more features and art. At the time, this was only the third annual that Marvel had ever done, but the Fantastic Four is proving it to be a hit. So in this annual, Namor leads the Atlanteans to attack New York City. The Fantastic Four stop him. The annual also gives us a comic book origin for Namor, which had not been told in quite a while.
So you remember, he's from the 30s, so he's the first mutant that Marvel ever had. So, all right, and then in Fantastic Four number 25, the Hulk was going full Hulk smash on New York City, and the Thing was the only one that could stop him. This was a two-part with the Avengers showing up in number 26 to team up and drive out the Hulk. Side note, Hulk was incorrectly called Bob in this issue, and no one actually caught it. So in Fantastic Four number 28, Stan actually replied to one of those letters pages after they got called out, and he said that's his human name. It's Robert Bruce Banner. So Hulk's actual name is not Bruce Banner. It's Robert Bruce Banner.
All right, interesting. Okay, sure, Stan. All right, Grandpa.
Yeah. And then in Fantastic Four number 45, they actually introduced the world to Inhumans. When I was looking this up and reading a bunch of these old comics, I was surprised how many people were first introduced in their comics. I think it's actually
legit.
Cool.
Like almost every big Marvel was.
Yeah, and we got a couple that we'll get to that I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. So we're not referring to the terrible ABC TV show that Marvel was pretending never happened.
You mean it was the greatest
in the multiverse of madness? So they introduced Medusa, Black Bolt, Crystal, Lockjaw, which is the giant dog, and more. And Crystal actually joined the Fantastic Four at one point. She and Johnny even shared a little bit of romance.
Okay, she actually shows up in the new Fantastic Four issue that just released last week, if you'll remember.
Ooh.
And no, I'm sorry, she didn't show up in that one.
I was like, I didn't read that one.
Nope. I'm sorry. I was thinking of. It was the issue with Galactus that we're about to get to. I'm sorry. Crystal is in this one because I just read it again recently because I was making Oliver read it. Also, it's funny how they want to ignore the Inhumans so bad, and yet Black Bolt, of all characters, is in so many. He's in the New Avengers. I read New Avengers, by the way, which is issue 2. Namor and Black Bolt are actually both in New Avengers, but Black Bolt is in so many different big pivotal Marvel comic books, but they want
to have him around. What happens if he sneezes?
He doesn't sneeze. I don't know. Maybe he just holds it in. I don't know.
Even if he holds it in, any sound he makes, like remember when he went like and like that? I feel like he did that in the TV
That's
show.
The
like somebody
worst
hit him.
Superpower to have.
And then he like, I mean, I tried to block it out. I think I only watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, but
anyways, now. In 1966, this is in issue 48. This is when we meet Galactus and the Silver Surfer. However, no, it is not the Silver Surfer seen in the movie. It's her husband, which I will get to in a bit. This is Norrin Radd. Shall we talk about the female Shalla-Bal, whose first appearance was in the Silver Surfer one? We'll get to her. Anyways, Norrin Radd is a Silver Surfer that is introduced in this issue. As the Fantastic Four return from space, where they were with the Inhumans, this is when we see Crystal and them get trapped in this thing. Johnny's upset. He wants to go after her. They're incredibly confused as to what's going on. And the Watcher shows up. You know, he's saying, hey, what's up, everybody? We're trying to hide you from this giant planet eating toddler who needs a snack every 5 minutes, because that's really what Galactus is a toddler, giant toddler, if you will. Think of your child after they eat dinner and they're already asking for a snack right after. That is Galactus. Okay. And so Silver Surfer is his herald who's out there searching for planets. Ooh, this looks like a good planet for him to eat and sustain his sustenance. Now, yes, he lets Galactus know what's going on.
He's Silver Surfer's a scout.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's out there doing the hard work, man. Galactus is dying of starvation, clearly. So he eats planets. Silver Surfer helps him find good ones. A job he only took actually to save his own planet from Galactus, in fact. And now, with the Watcher's help, Johnny Storm becomes the pivotal key in why they stop Galactus. And then in this issue, actually, Silver Surfer gets talked down from being the herald by Alicia, who is Ben Grimm, aka the Thing's woman. And in this issue, funny enough, Ben Grimm, his woman. Funny enough, actually, Ben Grimm is all butthurt because she is all about Silver Surfer. You know, she kind of shows a little bit of interest into the Silver Surfer, and the Thing is like, oh, he's very sad in his old 1960s New Yorker way. Like, what do you want him for? What are you doing? We're walking here. We're saving the earth here. And yeah, it's essentially it. He's got this whole thing going on. Now, at this time, they destroy this thing from Galactus. Johnny Storm goes in time, basically to Galactus' start, finds this specific thing, comes back, and Galactus is like, whoa, man, I don't want no problems here. I don't want no problems. And they agree to Galactus goes on his way to find another planet.
Going totally off prompter, kids.
Yeah.
He's losing it. We don't want no problems.
We don't want no problems here. And Galactus goes away. Silver Surfer stuck on Earth because he is no longer the herald of Galactus. And Silver Surfer
vanished to Earth like
yeah.
Stitch.
He's not exactly an example of how comics were just for kids. He's a very complex character. Silver Surfer is. It's a whole thing. You can actually buy the compendium, or not. There's a trade called like Galactus or whatever. I picked it up. It's
a
big.
Trilogy.
It's like Galactus's big appearances. Intro. So it kind of starts with this one. And so that's why
I love when Marvel does those. I've had a few of those for like like every time a new thing comes out, they usually drop those. Like they did it for Werewolf by Night. Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I read that's where I read, Galactus is at least his first appearance, which was this. And now his real name is Galen and not Urso. His occupation is consumer of planets and giant toddler. A former mortal, he is the lone survivor of his planet, long since gone. In the 2000s, he actually returned to his mortal form for a bit. Occasionally, he's kind of like not on anybody's side. He just wants to eat, man. He's just hungry. We're hungry. Think of Too Fast, Too Furious when Tyrese is like, we hungry. That's Galactus as well. Now, he's usually bad, though. Loves eating planets. He needs to do so to continue to have the power that he has. He's very big. He's huge, big, tall guy. He shops at the Ben's big and tall section. He can manipulate vast power, restructure matter, and deliver a planet-shattering energy blast. He can also teleport across the galaxy, create force fields. His ship is the size of a galaxy. Yeah, it's like a whole thing, man. He's pretty big.
We saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, you do see him. There's a Lego set back there behind me. If you see, Galactus is actually overlooking the X Mansion. Whole big thing. This is like finally though. I don't think we're going to see the Watcher in this film, but I am pretty excited.
It would be interesting if we did, just because it's the same Watcher from the What If series. It's the same Watcher that's like gone off book, that is now trying to help humans and superheroes and everything.
Well, he helps them in this issue, and Galactus is even like, Watcher, you're not supposed to get involved. And he's like, Earth is too important. These are good people. And Galactus is like, WTF, mate? Like, what the heck?
Maybe the Watcher, though, like tells the Fantastic Four, like, go to Earth 616 or whatever we're called, 99999. Like let them help you out. Like they're,
it would make a lot of cool sense because I mean the Celestials have stuff to do with Fantastic Four and Silver Surfers. It would make sense that the Watcher, so like they all kind of come into play at some point. I don't know. Like let's bring things.
A lot of story to tell, man. Still a lot.
All right. Anyways,
we don't need it all at once, though. We're not. We got to pace ourselves because you want it to be done right. So another amazing character we met in Fantastic Four was in issue number 52 in 1966. We met T'Challa, Black Panther. So this is actually a quote from Marvel's Greatest Comics. This is a book my husband got me for Christmas. And this quote is from Tom Brevoort, a Marvel editor, that said this about the issue, quote, "It took courage to introduce Black Panther in 1966, and the road was not smooth. Jack Kirby's, quote, Cold Tiger had his name changed and his costume redesigned to turn him into the Black Panther, and his cowl became a full face mask to avoid alienating retailers in the South," end quote.
Wait.
I was like,
what?
Shit, yeah.
What?
That is a direct quote from that book. It's a great book. That's where I've read about it's like 100 of like the most influential Marvel comics, and it's really, there's a ton of Fantastic Four ones in here, obviously.
Oh God, yeah. It was the 60s, man. So like, sure,
but it was edgy that they were even introducing a Black superhero. So this is what happened in that issue, though. So in the issue, a wealthy African chieftain lures the Fantastic Four to Wakanda. Of course, that's T'Challa. Reed Richards cannot be not lured with all the technological advances that they have. So they go and they participate in what they think is going to be a ceremonial hunt. but actually they're getting hunted. So they arrive to a technology jungle as opposed to what they expected, and the Black Panther shows up. He takes them down one by one, but they manage to escape, and Black Panther reveals his intentions were noble as he wanted to test their abilities. T'Challa then explains Wakanda and vibranium and says he needs to take down a man named Ulysses Claw. As a child, Claw actually killed his father and enslaved the Wakandans, but T'Challa was able to stop him, and now he needs help finishing him off.
God, it's such a shame that we had Claw for 5 seconds and he wasn't a bigger character.
He was great in it, though. The way he laughed and everything.
Is amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic job.
It really is such a, it sucks. And then, of course, everything that happened with Chadwick Boseman that we're not having, because I feel, I don't know, it just, Black Panther and the Fantastic Four could have been doing.
There's more story that needs to be told.
There's so many more story. Yeah, it's really hard. We are missing a Black Panther. I know we got Shuri, but you know what I mean? The Black Panther is...
Well, he left behind a son, so we'll see how that goes.
True. Or maybe they do multiversal things and Ryan Gosling shows up. I don't know, just kidding.
And Ryan Gosling.
You've never seen the memes or whatever? They're going to make Black Panther white and all that stuff. Oh, God.
I hope
and then they did in like that recent comic book as a joke or whatever they're doing. It was, anyways, it's like a long running meme on the internet. But now, according to Marvel.com, these are some other things that you should kind of read as well. So in Fantastic Four number 5, we do talk about this. Now, Sue Storm gets taken hostage. Fantastic Four needs to rescue her. To expand upon that, they go back in time to the Age of Pirates and take Blackbeard's glorified treasure as well, which I thought was pretty funny. Now, in the brutal
Jack Skellington, Jack Sparrow crossover.
Yes, they are rebooting that apparently with Will Turner and Keira Knightley. So Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley.
No Johnny Depp.
Look, I don't know. All I know is
Keira Knightley without Johnny Depp.
They've tried so many things with that franchise right now that they haven't found success without Johnny Depp at the very least.
I don't even know which ones I've watched and which ones I haven't, to be honest.
I loved the first one. First one, great movie. Second and thirds weren't bad, but anyways, we're not talking about pirates anymore, right? Fantastic Four issue 41, the brutal betrayal of Bren Grimm. The Thing's one chance of being normal again was taken away from him in order to save the other members of the Fantastic Four from the perils of Doctor Doom. After a hard-won battle, Ben Grimm is dazed and remorseful about his decisions to remain the Thing and wants nothing to do with the Fantastic Four. But when he strikes out on his own, the Thing is captured by the Inhuman Medusa.
I'd like to see her done properly. I didn't like her.
Again, I really feel like Black Bolt and Medusa they are pivotal to so many stories, and then just like Black Panther.
They were like entitled, obnoxious, rich people in the show. Yeah, that was the problem. We're like, wait, these are supposed to be the good guys?
And Ramsay Bolton sucked as well, and he was supposed to be the bad guy.
But he had a point.
I mean, can't argue that. Fantastic Four 45, Among Us hide the Inhumans. The Human Torch runs into a mysterious girl named Crystal with her giant canine companion Lockjaw. But what Johnny Storm, what Johnny Storm does not know is that Crystal is the sister of the Fantastic Four's nemesis Medusa. Gasp!
That's Romeo and Juliet. I was about to start singing the song.
They didn't love. Fantastic Four issue 103. It features a new creative team and Namor. I don't know why I keep switching between the two names.
Because when you read it, I always read it as Namor the Submariner, but then in the movie he says Namor because he's
that must be I don't know
the Aztec influence, so he's Namor, the child without love. So they redid his name in a way because they changed the definition of his name.
That's right. Well, he's preparing his marine nation of Atlantis to go against war with mankind, along with the mutant tyrant Magneto. In fact, Namor. Yes, wants the land mammals of Earth to be eradicated, and he will stop at nothing to achieve his goal.
Damn, that's harsh.
But Magneto reveals his true agenda when he kidnaps beloved Fantastic Four member Sue Storm and Namor's right hand, Lady Dorma.
Dun, dun, dun.
Magneto, always flip-flopping, dude. Always flip-flopping.
He's like, that's a great point. I'm on your side now. That's also a great point. I'm over here now.
This guy's got a lot of good points too. You know what?
So I guess Michael Fassbender was in true comic.
Oh my God. The way they had that.
I love Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
I do too.
I just hated him in Phoenix.
Funny how Apocalypse and all of these movies, the way he
Apocalypse he flip-flopped too. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Now issue 131. This is Quicksilver, the love triangle of Human Torch, Quicksilver, and Crystal the Inhuman comes to a dramatic halt as Crystal is captured by a new threat who goes by the name of Omega. Can Human Torch and Quicksilver put aside their differences in order to save Crystal?
I like how that was clearly a line from Marvel.com.
It was.
Can they put aside their differences? It's like, find out next week.
I took this straight from Marvel.com. I was like, what does Marvel have to say we should must read for Fantastic Four? This was
now
it.
you have to read to find out. I don't know.
You know,
Can they
I kind of want to read this.
Crystal?
Are they going to save Crystal or not?
I guess we'll find out next week. I feel like it's like Woody's Roundup, and then they never aired it.
It's such a Dragon Ball Z or anime too. Is find out next week on Dragon Ball Z. In issue 141, little Franklin is glowing.
Franklin is Sue and Reed's kid.
Hey, it's Franklin. Yes, Annihilus is the supreme power of the negative zone, and he has captured Franklin, and who is the son of Reed and Sue, as we just said. Reed will have to make a difficult decision that will affect Franklin forever.
Damn, they're really like trying to get you to go read all these.
They are, aren't they? Fantastic Four 207, Human Torch versus Spider-Man. When Monocle lures Human Torch under his control, it will be up to Spider-Man to knock Johnny Storm back to his senses. Can Spider-Man find a way to turn his pal back to his old self? I feel like I need like this old school radio.
What a name, Monocle. Does his like monocle like have superpowers?
He got away. I don't know.
I don't know who that. I've never heard of that person.
He's a Monopoly man. Duh.
Actually, doesn't the Monopoly man like not have one or something?
No, he does, doesn't he?
But there was something that we all remembered. It's the Mandela effect. Yeah, like Berenstain Bears. Like you remember the Monopoly guy. Maybe it's a mustache.
Monopoly dude definitely has a mustache and monocle.
I'm gonna look it up.
All right. Well, in 265, this is when She-Hulk gets added to the Fantastic Four, just as the pregnancy storm goes into labor.
Sorry.
All right. Fantastic Four are on trial in issue 336. Should the Fantastic Four be registered superheroes with the United States government, the Fantastic Four will find themselves on trial. And when mayhem escalates once again, the Fantastic Four will prove their worth to the city of New York. And last but certainly not least, issue 348, Hulk, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Ghost Rider. Well, guess what? They're the new Fantastic Four. But what happened to the original Fantastic Four? Find out in this issue.
Read to find out. The Monopoly Man does not have a monocle.
What? I feel like we're lied to. No way.
See, it's the Mandela effect. I always thought he did too.
No, we felt.
I also don't say
I am convinced
Berenstain Bears.
We are in a multiverse. No way that he had a monocle when I was a kid. There's no way. We're being gaslit.
When you look up any sort of Mandela effect, that's like one of the top at the list.
We are being gaslit. No. How are they going to do this and say they? No way. No, we fell somehow. All right. No, because we fell into a rift in time, in space. And this is not the world that we grew up in. Okay. There's no way that this is the world that we grew up in. I firmly do not believe.
What was the movie that everybody thinks like Shaq was like a genie or something?
Kazam?
Yeah. Was that real?
That had to have been real. I swear I've watched that movie. See, I've watched that movie. That's what I don't. That's real, isn't it? Or is that another one? It was
Kazam. Oh no, it wasn't Shaq. Wasn't it like a Sinbad did it? And people are, or maybe I don't know. Kazam.
No, but
yeah. Okay, I see the Shaq Kazam. There was another one then, and like maybe it was it was Sinbad Shazam, and people are like, I swear this is real. I saw this movie.
See, I'm convinced.
I don't know. I would have to do all the,
yeah. Anyways, let's go to Shalla-Bal real quick. You can reference my reel on our Instagram, but I'll go into her real quick before Lauren goes into Herbie. Fully loaded. Just kidding. We're not talking Lindsay Lohan. Now, Shalla-Bal is the Empress of Zen-La. She's the wife of Norrin Radd, who is the Silver Surfer. She first appeared in Silver Surfer 1 in 1968 by Stan Lee, and I wrote Kirby. I messed up, but Stan Lee and John Buscema. I snitched on myself. I don't know why. Now, Norrin Radd volunteers to become the Herald of Galactus in exchange for sparing Zen-La. Norrin Radd is then given the cosmic power, and becomes Silver Surfer. I can
think it's far. The ultimate cosmic power.
When Silver Surfer rebels against Galactus, Mephisto, who has beef with the Silver Surfer, desires to beat him and steal his noble soul. He senses the anguish of this separation within him and uses Shalla-Bal as a pawn in his conflict with the Silver Surfer as part of a conspiracy Mephisto replaces the consciousness of Shalla-Bal so that she believes herself to be a regular citizen of Latveria named Helena. And there is a false marriage with her and Dr. Doom that is set up to arrange to have the Silver Surfer fight the Fantastic Four. Then Galactus consumes the life energies and ecosphere of Zenn-La because of Silver Surfer's betrayal in, issue number 41 or whatever it was. So he spares the lives of its people by warning them of his coming beforehand. What a nice guy, right? Allowing them to return to the lifeless husk afterwards. Okay, maybe he's not such a nice guy. When Reed frees the Surfer from his imprisonment, he returns to Zenn-La to find it in the state that it was left in and learns that Shalla-Bal was abducted by Mephisto. The Surfer understands the conspiracy, returns to Latveria, finds Shalla-Bal. He imprisons himself once again on Earth. The Silver Surfer then bestows a portion of his power cosmic to Shalla-Bal while Mephisto is sending her back to her planet. She is then able to use his power to restore the life on Zenn-La. Shalla-Bal is, drink every time I say her name, is thus accepted as an empress by her people. However, the responsibilities of her office make her refuse marriage with the Surfer when he eventually breaks free of Earth for good. He then tells her that their romance is over. We're done. Throws the ring back. She is later held hostage by the elders, but is rescued once more by Silver Surfer. And one last bit. In an alternate universe variant, she appears in Earth X. She's then turned into Silver Surfer by Franklin Richards and Galactus before she is later killed in battle against the Celestials. Yes. That's her in a nutshell. Not sure where they're going to pull her necessary from. If we're going to get, dude Silver Surfer, what's going on, multiverse stuff. But that's them. And, poor Silver Surfer, man, he just wanted his girl and he wanted his people to be safe. But Mephisto, who's now in the MCU, had to mess around with him. Galactus had to mess with him. Dude just wants his woman. And she said, no. Oh, stupid you. And then she dies by the Celestials. So
stupid you.
Yeah. Threw the ring back at him. Oh, come on, man.
So Herbie, first issue of the New Fantastic Four, A Monster Among Us, that came out September 9th, 1978. That is when he first appeared. So he is, quote, a humanoid experimental robot, B-type, integrated electronics, or sometimes referred to as highly engineered robot built for interdimensional exploration. So Herbie was built by Reed Richards and Master Zar from Xandar using Xandarian technology to create the robot that actually would help Mr. Fantastic find Galactus. There have been different versions of him, some humanoid, some not. Herbie's also kind of like their assistant. Reed trusts the AI so much that he allows him to watch over his kids, Franklin and Valeria. Valeria ends up being an ally to robot liberation and reprograms Herbie so that he's free of any inhibitor that keeps him bound to her family. And once he's free, he joins an AI army to fight for robot rights. There was another version of him once called Hubert, which was hyper ultronic brain employing randomized tracings. I don't think we're going to get the AI fight for
yeah, I don't think we're doing a lot of that. All right. I don't. I think that's David Tennant, right? Who's playing him?
Oh, is it?
I thought it. Maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe I got Mandela affected again. Jesus Christ. Stop it. I can't take it. Everything I knew and love has been taken away from me.
He also voices the
maybe that's
Frank Welker. Or is that
okay.
Hold on, that's just first who came up. I don't trust the first initial.
I don't know. Well, let's go into some fun facts real quick. So when Fantastic Four was founded, their goal was a legal corporation that safeguarded humans from both human and alien attacks. They also specialized in scientific research, including explorations into the unknown. They were funded on patents for inventions and scientific discoveries. Their services are offered free of charge.
What a deal.
Yeah. In 2022, the first issue of Fantastic Four was actually sold for $1.5 million at an auction. Fun fact. That is gross. I wish I could. Man, can you?
Matthew Wood is playing Herbie.
Oh, weird. I don't know where I got David Tennant then. I don't know. I just assume him or, Alan Tudyk are both playing some robot at some point. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, what else we got fun fact wise?
So there was once a female thing after Ben became human again. Her name was Sherry. And it was funny because I was reading one of the issues and I was like, that looks like Ben. Thing is still Sherry. There. Her name was Sharon. We go into her a little bit more in a minute. But I was confused because I'm reading this issue and I didn't know that. And I'm like, I see Ben But I also see Thing, but Thing has a tank top, and they keep saying Sherry, and I'm like, who the hell is Sherry?
I'm so confused.
Like, when the F did we get ice cream? Like, when the F did Sherry get here? I don't know. So they picked their own names, and of course, Modest Much Mr. Fantastic picked Mr. Fantastic. Although, of course, like we mentioned before, today Sue goes by Invisible Woman, not Girl. Their costumes are designed with unstable molecules to fit their superpowers. They did not have Edna Mode make them. So Reed makes
no capes. I thought for sure it would have been her because there's no capes.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's solid advice. Sorry, Superman. I love you. But so Reed makes them some very fancy vehicles. Obviously, I think everybody's very familiar with the main one. I always want to call it a people mover.
No, it's not the people mover, you silly goose.
It kind of looks like a people mover.
It kind of does, though.
However, they also have a scroll ship for galactic travel. Other people who have been members of the Fantastic Four are Crystal, Medusa, She-Hulk, Luke Cage, Ant-Man, Sharon Ventura, who's Miss Marvel, She-Thing, Namorita, which is
Namorita.
I don't know why I said it like that. What? That's like Namor's. Oh no, that's
when a white woman has a taco on Tuesday. Everybody, they get all Namorita. Jesus Christ!
I'm going to Cancun tomorrow. I'm kidding.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow. We fly out.
Oh my God, she's clearly already there. Namorita, can I have your finest birrita?
I'm already on the beach with a michelada and some tacos.
Oh my God.
We booked a beer tour for Friday, or cerveza tour.
Yeah, like 5 hours. That's crazy.
I'm very excited. Okay, so we mentioned Reed and Ben we mentioned Doom and Reed. So Reed and Ben were actually college roommates. Black Panther and Storm were also once Fantastic Four people.
Oh, wow.
So Reed and Ben were college roommates. Ben became a pilot and joined the Air Force as well as becoming an astronaut. Reed came from money to fund a lot of their projects, and of course they also got government grants. At one point, they brought Namor home to Atlantis after he lost his memory and was found in the Bowery slums.
Should have left us out there for what he's trying to do with your girl, Reed.
You know what? You can't. I'm not going to talk. So later, when the Baxter building is destroyed, they rebuild a new headquarters in space because that's a logical next thing to do. All 4 of them have joined the Avengers at one point, and all 4 of them have died at one point. Doom once sent Sue and Reed's son Franklin to hell to be tortured. So if you weren't sure if he was a bad guy, there's evidence that he definitely is. Doom, however, is also the reason that their daughter is named Valeria. He was able to do this because he helped safely deliver her. The labor was not going well, part of a side effect of the radiation she was exposed to that gave her her powers, and Reed was not around. Not that he's an OBGYN, but I don't think Doom is either. So Johnny was very desperate, and he went to Doom for help, I guess because he's a doctor. He said he'd help if he could name the baby. So he gave her the name Valeria.
Her godfather at that, which is crazy. The worst guy you know is her godfather.
What's worse is even that Valeria is an old girlfriend of his. So he named their kid Valeria after his ex-girlfriend. And Valeria's first name was Doom.
They all know some weird stuff, all right? I don't know. I don't kink shame.
On more than one occasion, Ben has changed back to human. We talked about that a little bit. However, he tends to stick around and help even when he is human. So at one point, Reed made him an exoskeleton that looked like his Thing counterpart. They once stopped a Skrull invasion. Reed made some of the Skrulls think they were cows, and they turned to cows. I remember talking about that when we did Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
So you want to give us some more fun facts before we go into Secret Wars?
Absolutely. Oh, God. Ben Grimm constantly struggles with the fact that he can't blend in as normal. While he has a heart of gold, he's not always the happy-go-lucky guy. It has even been portrayed as depressed. He's always in his trench coat, his hat. Not like anybody's not going to notice this whole giant beastly man. Anyways.
It's like when the Ninja Turtles, it's like the same attire.
I know, nobody recognized. Whatever.
Like Raphael goes out with a hat and a trench coat.
Come on, bro. When the Superhuman Registration Act became a thing, Reed was the only member who agreed with it because Reed, once again, is a bad guy. Now, during Secret Invasion, the Skrulls sent Reed, Sue, and their children, Franklin and Valeria, into the negative zone. They survived, reunited, and then Reed found he was inspired to begin looking for other universes. The recent murder of Captain America in Civil War, which was about the Registration Act, also inspired this as a means to go back and see what went wrong. Yeah.
I had wondered how much of that, because, obviously for anybody at this point, Thunderbolts is on Disney Plus. So we see, obviously, if you want to just mute ahead 20 seconds, the end credit scene, we see the Fantastic Four coming here. So I wonder, obviously Reed had been looking at multiverses because they're not from our universe. So
I'm interested too. I feel like there has to be something like that. Now, there is an interdimensional council of Reeds. It's just a club with different Reed Richards from different multiverses. He used a tool called the Bridge, to do this. It found other hymns. While many of them were cold and detached after losing their father, they did help him brainstorm, which then led to Reed creating the Future Foundation. This was a group of thinkers, including kids, who would come up with solutions to problems. Again, Reed is so full and up his own ass.
We didn't even go into his father either. Like, I feel like
no, we didn't. That was, yeah.
Okay.
God. There's so much you really could do, which maybe we'll dive into.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man once applied to the team, changed his mind when he found out it was not a paid gig. Spider-Man is just broke. He out here trying. All these superheroes are rich, but Spider-Man,
he's got to help.
Dude is poor. Like, come on, man. Reed could spare like $10 to pay Spider-Man to join. Come on, dude. However, years later, Spider-Man did actually join after Johnny dies, as it was in his will that Spider-Man replace him. This was after he sacrificed himself in the negative zone to save the Future Foundation kids who were attacked by Annihilus in an annihilation wave while Reed was off planet and Sue was Atlantis. What you doing, Sue? What you doing, Sue? Johnny comes back, of course, and Secret Wars.
So the premise of Secret Wars, there's an 80s one and then like a 2000s
Yes, there's
one.
2016 and the 80s one. Yes.
So the premise is planets are colliding and only one can survive. So Reed creates a life raft that saved him and a few others. So Sue, Franklin, and Valeria get lost during this, though. The ship crash lands on Battleworld, where Doom, Strange, and Molecule Man had created a reality. In this reality, Doom was actually a god and his wife was Sue Storm, and together they were the parents to Franklin and Valeria. Johnny becomes the sun, and Ben actually becomes a giant protective wall.
Yep.
Eventually, everyone teams up and they find each other. And
they also save it because Miles had a very old hamburger in his belongings, which he gives Molecule Man. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It comes down to a hamburger from Miles Morales to save everybody. But that was cool. There's a lot of cool artwork in the battles and everything like that.
It was one of the most bizarre runs.
It was because, Valeria goes and sneaks up and sees Doom. She's like, "Hey, Godfather Doom, what's up?" Basically. And
yeah,
it was a lot, man. Doctor Strange is working for Doom. It was weird, man. You guys are weird. Now, one last random fun fact. Bill Murray played the Human Torch in a 1975 radio drama. It was a Fantastic Four radio that lasted for 10 episodes based on the comic books and was actually narrated by Stan Lee. In true Human Torch fashion, he later becomes an MCU character in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yes.
Just like Michael B. Jordan became Killmonger and Chris Evans became Captain America.
He did.
So who will Eddie become?
I don't know.
In the MCU?
He is. He's Johnny's. I don't know, but what?
Johnny Storm, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you take us and tell us a little bit about where the movie will be taking place?
So the movie is actually taking place on Earth 828, which is a nod to Jack Kirby because his birthday is August 28th.
Woo! Yes, and that is where the movie will leave us. It's finally here. It's hard to believe that we've been sitting here theorizing about these movies for a long time since we got the trailer last year or whatever, and all the announcements. Like Superman just came in.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
I know. I just saw my Facebook today how we were in Barcelona on this day a year ago, and I got really sad because I could really go for some of that right now again.
Right now, yeah.
Oh God, that was the vacation of a lifetime, man. I would kill to go back. Anyways, as I start to go down memory lane and cue the floats off into dreamland, Fantastic Four is coming out. We will do our spoiler-filled review afterwards, but if you want to get ad-free episodes, you want to get a jump on episodes early, go ahead and patreon.com/HopsGeekNews is how you can support the show and come join us on our Discord channel, hang out with us, all of that good kind of juicy stuff. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, follow. Let us know what your favorite Fantastic Four run is, whether it's in a review, drop us a line at our email, whatever it may be. And
you got one you think we should read before or after the movie? Let us know, man.
We will always do it. Follow us. We will see you guys next time and later.